Y'all care to join me on a little tour around the Rust Belt states here today? Now, it's a term that you guys have probably heard, but I don't know how many people know exactly what the Rust Belt encompasses. Like which states, which districts, which counties are all there. So I brought up a little map there because I wasn't too sure. I've heard that. I've heard the Sun Belt and that, well, those are the two big ones that are out there. There's also the Frost, apparently the Jello Belt, which I've never heard of in my life, and the Wheat Belt as well. Mostly you hear, the Midwest, the Southwest, blah, blah, blah. But let's just clarify this out. So it encompasses upstate New York, most of Pennsylvania, a touch in New Jersey, all of Ohio, northern Indiana, the vastly populated half of Michigan, Chicago a little bit, and then a touch of Wisconsin. This video is mostly going to focus on what's going on in Pennsylvania and Michigan. Now, we got to start with Michigan because I feel bad for any of my Michigan viewers out there because I've done a few videos on her, and I think Gretchen Whitmer is quite possibly the worst governor in the United States, rivaled very closely by Gavin Newsom. There's nothing really charming about Gavin Newsom, in my opinion. He just looks like a really greasy car salesman, and his policies are completely bananas. But you got your other major candidate for being the worst out there, Andrew Cuomo. But outside of politics, I feel like I could probably hang out with that guy. We'd probably have a fair amount in common just as long as we don't have to talk about politics. I think he's probably a pretty decent dude. He probably drops a couple of F-bombs and you get a little bit too much liquor in him, and he probably drop a couple of N-bombs too. I don't know. I just got that feeling about him. But Gretchen Whitmer has the likability of crib death. There is nothing going on between that bitch's ears that isn't of a malevolent nature. She has made it her mission now for the next, however long she's going to be in power for. Made it her mission to make Republicans, and more specifically Donald Trump's job, incredibly difficult with her capping of outdoor events, yes, outdoor events, and draconian policies, even though that the Supreme Court has overturned some stuff, and her alleged kidnapping attempt, once we figure out some more information, when that eventually goes to trial and we get more testimonies out of that, it might not be so cut and dry as it was initially reported, which I was very skeptical of, but I've also done a video on that one as well. But what we got here, Whitmer, a Trump rally in Lansing, a recipe for disaster. Governor Gretchen Whitmer called a President Trump campaign rally planned for Tuesday at Lansing's airport a recipe for disaster amid the spread of COVID-19 in Michigan, because she's doing such a terrific job locking everything down. And like I've said before, all of that does is just push it off into the future instead of, dealing with it. Yeah, just lock everything down. During a Sunday interview with WXYZ, the Democratic governor noted the Republican president hasn't been able to protect himself from getting the coronavirus. Oh, victim blaming. You'll love to see it, but they don't want you to do the exact same thing. And 5 officials from Vice President Mike Pence have tested positive in recent days, but those seem to be gone and dusted. I haven't heard a fucking thing about that and been actively looking. On Friday, the Trump campaign announced the Lansing rally, which would be the president's 3rd outdoor rally at a Michigan airport since September. And he's also on a fucking tear. He has 5 rallies. Himself has 5 rallies in 5 different states. Started today in Michigan and Iowa, Pennsylvania, and he's going all the way down. I know he's got one in, I think it's North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. That's just today. And then another 5 tomorrow. Holy fuck. Meanwhile, Biden went to church this morning in North Carolina, went back to Washington, D.C. that is, and then he's going to spend the day at a fundraiser and 1 rally in Pennsylvania. Really working hard, Joe, huh? Yeah, this isn't going to be a fucking blowout on Tuesday now, is it? This is a recipe for disaster, and we have seen COVID outbreaks as a result of these rallies. Have we? Have we really? I've seen one instance of, 1 person tested positive after the event, not taking into account any other places that person could have gone. Now, I don't need to know the personal information of people going in places. I hate these ideas of these tracking apps. I hate the idea of a restriction of freedom under the guise of safety. That has always been a concern for me, and it should be for you as well if you value freedom above everything else. But that's just not the case in Michigan. And that's not the case with our little Napoleon there. Because starting Monday, we got some new restrictions coming in. Michigan bars, restaurants will require customers' names and phone numbers. Draconian measures, dudes. Now, I read through this one beforehand, and just watch how they try to play this off. We'll be debunking that shortly. Michigan officials claim that there have been 12 coronavirus outbreaks stemming from bars and restaurants. Shut them all down. 12, that's too many. Not one life is too many. It has nothing to do with the fact that most of your deaths came from inside of nursing homes that you told young people and sick people to just go into, and you mandated that. That has nothing to do with that. But 12 stemming from bars and restaurants, that's too goddamn much. The new rule from Michigan Department of Health and Human Services will go into effect Monday, Fox News reported. Bars and restaurants will also be required to restrict the number of customers to 50 or fewer. Oh, good, because, we're just at the beginning of this. We don't quite know that the survivability rate is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 99.9%. And, oh, wait, it's November 1st. Oh, okay, yeah, she's just a tyrant. And allow no more than 6 people at a single table. That sounds like a boatload of fun. Bars and restaurants that don't follow the new mandate could be fined $1,000. So they aren't allowed to have more than 50 people in a bar or restaurant at a single time. And I'm just going to guess what? Okay, 50 people or fewer. Very rarely will it reach capacity. And you got to think what? The average plate and the average meal for everybody is what? $20? Is that a little too high? Is that a little too low? So what you're saying, I was just using $20 as a nice round number, and that seems about right for what, a drink and an entree, correct? That's $1,000 right there. That is if everybody's full and everybody's eating an average dinner. And if you have these rogue police officers or whatever enforcement agency that you're using to enforce this unconstitutional edict, that means the entire evening, or that entire, if it is in fact full, that entire tab that you would have got as a restaurant owner is immediately taken out. And they are already operating. I would think if you can't operate at capacity, you aren't making anything. I think we all know that restaurant owners and bars operate at such a slim profit margin. Bars a little bit more so because they can jack up the price of liquor and mixed drinks, but when you're a restaurant owner, you operate at a loss for a significant amount of time, or you operate at such a slim margin that it's next to impossible to keep your business afloat. And yeah, that's why a lot of restaurants, small businesses, small restaurants are, taking a shit kicking and closing thanks to the boating enthusiast who's the governor right now. Our frontline servers have already had trouble dealing with masks and mandates and mandating masks. Well, of course, because people who go out and you're going to be eating, okay? And most of these stupid edicts that are out there, you have to wear a mask unless you're eating, and you should probably put it up in between bites. Fucking stupid. And that's probably what they're being told. And it's like, it comes down from the government, and then it comes down from your boss. And your boss doesn't have to go place to place, and he really doesn't want to. But at the same time, he also doesn't want to lose the entire night's fucking profits because some Karen who's in the restaurant who's, adhering to this ridiculous mandate would call the cops and, wouldn't hesitate under the guise of, just won't somebody please think of the children? You're going to kill grandma. We did de-escalation training and all kinds of other things to help with that. And now we're taking it to the next level. We have to gather someone's personal information. This was according to Scott Ellis, the executive director of the Michigan Licensed Beverage Association. So somebody who has a considerable amount of skin in this game. We just told them, look, get names and phone numbers and write it on a piece of paper, because the health department calls you and says, hey, someone came in on this date, I need a list, and we have to provide it. He added, just fucking unbelievable. Yeah, just run around, show me your papers. This will kill off the restaurant business. Absolutely. I don't think that there are enough people out there who are dumb enough to continue to go out to restaurants who are too scared to begin with, so they're doing takeout, or I don't know, just watching the clock and wondering when the slowest time at their local restaurant or at their local grocery store is, so they can sneak in and grab some fucking soy turkey. So these people aren't going out. And the people who don't even want to wear a mask, wouldn't be going out to these places that are enforcing mandatory masks. So they're just killing off the people that are like, yeah, okay, I'll wear a mask, but okay, I'm coming in to dine. Why do you need my information? You're just going to keep pushing people who are, agreeable enough to go out. It's like, hey, I want to support a local business. Okay, fine. They just want to come in. They want to, patronize a place that they like. And you think that this would stop at restaurants? This is going to start going everywhere. You're going to have to start providing your information into every store you go into until people, start to push back, because this is butt fucking insane. And just to wrap up the goofy shit in Michigan, if customers refuse to provide their names and phone numbers, Fox 17 reported, they may be refused service. Okay, well, Michiganders, Michiganlers, Michelin men, please do stand up to this. Okay, support these businesses. If you do like them, support them via takeout. Support them some way where you can contravene this ridiculous mandate that, at least in my opinion, is a egregious overstep of control. Now let's hop on a plane and wing on over to Pennsylvania, guys. Let's take a look at some rallies. First and foremost, I want to set the scene. We have a crazy leftist news site, U.S. News and World Report. Now, in my opinion, I think that they are fucking bonkers. Well, you can probably tell based on this. Trump rallies are turning voters against him. What? No. What? Okay, we'll eventually get to one fucking massive rally that took place last night. But right now, a survey in 6 battleground states. How did you poll these people? Were they in deep blue districts? Probably. Based on your front page of your website, states show that voters see Trump less favorably by a 2-to-1 margin because of the rallies he's held in the midst of a coronavirus pandemic. Yeah, so you're clearly polling the people who are butt fucking paralyzed in fear on a daily basis. I don't know how people can live like that for what? It's been 9 months at this point. God, I hope they just wither and die. Yeah, just look at this cartoon for proof of what I was thinking there. Yeah. Okay, yeah, too normal. Off in the distance there, you can see where Joe Biden's going to go retire on Wednesday morning. And then, oh yeah, the tree looks exactly like Trump, and it's going to be dark, and it's going to be terrible, and people are going to die. Yeah, and once a vaccine comes out, what are you guys actually going to complain about? Yeah, that don't make sense. Let's see what their poll finds here. President Donald Trump loves his big rallies, big beautiful rallies. Everybody agrees they're the best. Where he not only revels in the cheers and chants of his adoring crowds, but taunts Democratic foe Joe Biden for hiding in the basement and eschewing mass events. Okay, I don't have this pulled up, but somebody, I think it was PolitiFact, actually fact-checked if Joe Biden was hiding in his basement. If you can believe that. And they considered it mostly true or mostly false. Regardless, it is too mind-meltingly stupid for me to bring up. But voters in battleground states do not approve of Trump's largely maskless, hey? I don't, outside of Trump, I don't see anybody without a mask. So, yeah, it seems a little biased, don't you think? Packed rallies. Yep, they are sitting shoulder to shoulder, and I think that's a good thing. A poll released Wednesday by the Democratic Super PAC Priorities USA found, yeah, buddy, Democratic Super PAC. Nice, fair, and balanced polling. And more troubling for the president, voters in those states also overwhelmingly blame the president for a second wave of coronavirus infections across the country. Okay, what about deaths, though? Is they down a lot? They is down a lot, guys, okay. But enough poisoning the well. Seeing the pictures come out of these rallies is amazing. Especially, well, okay, there were a couple on the weekend that were, well, just before the weekend, I think like Friday. There was one in Michigan that was capped at 250 people because Gretchen Whitmer's fucking nuts. I guess we're jamming on back over to Michigan for a hot second. But some of those outdoor ones were, yeah, capped because apparently we're backtracking on the fact that ultraviolet rays can significantly affect the coronavirus itself. I don't know. They're just flying by the seat of their pants at this point. Anything to, smear Trump at this point. But everybody's made their minds up and get out and vote on Tuesday, right, guys? Or pretty much every state already has early voting open, I think. regardless, that's not the point of this video. This video is to dunk on Gretchen Whitmer and these bedwetting assholes in Pennsylvania. But I can count on my hands about, 54,000 Trump supporters who ain't fucking scared. Yesterday, take a look at that fucking pic. Take a look. Look at it. Look at it. That is fucking amazing. Apparently, according to the Secret Service, 24,000 people were there inside the makeshift stadium. And then outside in the overflow, there was another 20 some odd thousand. And then outside the overflow, so the overflow for the overflow, there were still a few thousand people milling about. Listen, you can look at the polls as much as you want, but in a battleground state, which is becoming less and less of a battleground by the day, Pennsylvania has significant enthusiasm for President Trump. I think it's beyond reproach at this point. And I don't know how much more convincing it takes for anybody to believe that if you are going to come out to a rally, you are going to brave the long lines that there are going to be if you haven't already early voted. I know that most people can early vote and walk in and the lines are, relatively short, but on election day, yeah, they're going to be long, and you can expect that to be the first video on Tuesday. I know. Spoiler, I planned my shit out in advance, but it's going to be bonkers, and those people who just hate Trump oh so much, they might stick around. The people who love Trump are definitely going to be sticking around to vote. And Biden's enthusiastic base, they see a line that's going to be, maybe in some districts a mile long. Do you think that they're going to stick around? These are all of your social distancing procedures. These are all of your mandates to keep the people safe. So you got to live with the consequences. Saying that it's the Republicans repressing the vote. Honest to God, people, just look at who's enacting these policies and look at who's doing better when they implement the inverse. You don't have to go to universities to summarize that one. And one more picture just from a different angle. That fucking amazing. Well, come on, asshole. What are you trying to read upside down? President Trump doubled down on attacks on former Vice President Joe Biden on Saturday evening as he offered closing remarks for his 2020 re-election campaign to a pumped-up crowd of supporters at the Pittsburgh Butler Regional Airport. Joe Biden will shut down your economy, ship your jobs to China, where they pay him a lot of money, a lot of money. Raise your taxes, $4 trillion, and send your state into a deep, deep depression, the likes of which you'll never see. But I'm using this source just to show you that there is such cognitive dissonance on behalf of one Deb Erdley. I don't know who she is. Maybe she does good work, but judging by this article, I find that hard to believe. It doesn't once mention the enormity of this crowd. It says that they were, rambunctious, but outside of that, she has her head in the sand about the polls. Oh, Biden's ahead in the polls. Yeah, that's cool. Meanwhile, everything else points to the opposite being true, and the response on Tuesday night is just going to be so fucking sweet, and I can't wait. But I did make slight mention that I think that Pennsylvania is no longer really a battleground state. I think it's going to be a significant win. It's going to be a few points, somewhere between probably 3 and 5 points. It'll be a victory for Trump once all is said and done. And this is apparently big news in some circles. Like I said before, I think endorsements really mean fuck all. It's all about what your base, your actual voting public tend to think. But the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, maybe the biggest paper in Pittsburgh, I don't know, endorses Trump. The first time the paper has endorsed a Republican since 1972. And if you guys are unfamiliar with that race, that was Richard Nixon against George McGovern. And that was a 49-state landslide. Like I'm saying, I don't think that this really means anything, and a bunch of those intelligentsia out there think, oh my god, a newspaper for the first time since 1972 has endorsed somebody. I just find it a little bit coincidental that the first time that they've endorsed a Republican is since 72, the first time that a Republican had a 48-state or 49-state landslide. DC always goes for Democrats because swamp creatures, that should be fucking obvious, right? I'm just seeing so many parallels between that 72 race and, of course, the 84 race where Mondale shit his collective base, and then it ended up shifting and becoming some sort of a neo-lib, neocon conglomeration under the Bill Clinton administration, where he just wholesale took the economic plan of Ronald Reagan, and it was like, oh, that's mine now. I don't think it's going to be a 48 or 49 state landslide. I think that there's too many people entrenched in their ideologies in these huge cities like Chicago and California. I still think New York's going to be tighter than people think. I got a weird feeling about that. I don't think Trump's going to win, but I think it's going to be within single digit points this time around. Maybe high single digits, maybe mid single digits, but look out for that one. I could just be on crack, though. Been covered in a lot of Hunter Biden stories lately. But that's what I wanted to touch on with the Rust Belt here. Cleared up the definitions for you guys so you know exactly what they're going to be talking about on election night and see the craziness going on in Pennsylvania right now. And just, of course, because we got to touch on a absolute savage of a woman in Gretchen Whitmer out there in Michigan. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you guys to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.